Hello, Stephen Bedard here. I've done a number of videos in the past about Bruxy Cavey, and I want to just make it clear that I've never had a problem with Bruxy in terms of his theology or his ministry. I might not agree with everything that he has taught, but I generally have respected the ministry that he has had at the meeting house and other things that he has done. And in fact, I've come to his defense a number of times when I've encountered people who have accused him of being a heretic. However, when it came out that he had been involved in sexual abuse of someone in his congregation, and I use that phrase on purpose because of the power differential. That wasn't just an affair that took place, but especially because it was within the context not just of someone in the congregation, but someone he was counseling. That really falls into the category of abuse. That really had taken things too far, and I'm glad that he is no longer at the meeting house. Things have been fairly quiet on the Bruxy Cavey front for the past year or so since those charges came up. And I was curious. I noticed that his social media has continued to be very quiet, not much there. And so I recently visited his website, bruxy.ca, just curious as to what was there, because the last time I had been there, really the only thing that was there was his confession that he had put out. And so I was just curious if that was there or if he had shut down the website in general. And I kind of had expected that perhaps that the website would be shut down. And I was a little bit surprised to find that there was quite a bit new content there, that he was blogging regularly. And so I began to explore his website. Now, again, I want to make something clear. I'm not here to judge Bruxy Cavey. I'm not here to tell him that he shouldn't be doing that he shouldn't be active in writing about the Bible and blogging and those sorts of things. That's not my intention at all. In fact, as I was looking at his website and looking at some of the discussion that he shares about where he's at this moment, I could identify. I've never experienced what he's experienced, but I would find it difficult to, as someone who loves to study and to teach the Bible, to not have any access to that. And I've never have been as busy or as prominent as Bruxy. So I'm sure that I would be tempted to have my blog going and sharing reflections on Bible passages and that. I would definitely be tempted to do something like that. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong for Bruxy to be doing that. However, I did have some concerns as I went through his website that he's not just blogging, but seems to be involved in organizing some kind of, I'm not sure how to describe it. Not that he's planting a church, but he seems to be involved in something called small churches, which is a group of small churches, I guess. They are small groups of people who gather and study the Bible. And again, that's not necessarily wrong, nor is it wrong for him to have a few people that he meets with and worships with, because I'm sure that it would be very difficult for him just to show up to the average church on a Sunday morning. But he seems to be giving some leadership to this, and it seems to be something that is fairly widely expanding. And again, it's not my place to say what he should do or shouldn't do. But as far as I know, the legal charges are still there against him. He was arrested. There's no indication that he has have a ecclesiastical body that is overseeing anything that he is doing. And I don't get a sense that there's a lot of accountability. There's talk of accountability in terms of the content that is being produced, that's shared among the small churches. But in terms of Bruxy, I don't really see that happening. Now, in his website, he does talk about the difficulty of getting work. And I can imagine, and I'm sympathetic to that. I don't know what I would do if I was forced to leave all ministry, what kind of job. And I'm not, again, near as prominent. People will recognize him, his story, what happened at Meeting House was on, not just shared among Christian magazines, but major newspapers covered it. So he is well known, and he's a very recognizable person. So it would be very difficult. And so he is trying to do something here, producing content, organizing these small churches, and so on. And there is a way there on the website for you to support him financially through that as well. And I will say that when this is only a little bit less than a year and a half since his confession, and so it seems to be pretty new for this to be happening. There's still a lot of things up in the air, and he does say that what he is doing is a part of his own therapy. And again, I'm very sympathetic to that. And I especially think that the blogging part and biblical reflections and those kinds of things would be very helpful. But I am concerned about actual ministry that he is doing in terms of small groups or small churches and that kind of thing. And people will naturally look to him as a leader because he is a very charismatic and gifted Bible teacher and leader. And yet I don't see that this is happening necessarily in submission to a larger group that it would be guiding him through this. Maybe there is something happening in the background that's just not mentioned in the website. I don't know. So my call is not to demand that Bruxy shut down his website or stop blogging. I'm not even going to tell him to stop working with small churches or small groups or house churches or whatever it is that they're working on. That's not my position to do that. Really, my point of even doing this video is that it is worth us reflecting on when is a pastor who has been disgraced for whatever reason, at what point do they enter into ministry again? And I know that it is difficult because when you have spent your life in ministry, your education is in ministry, there's not a whole lot of options to do. And if you feel that this is your vocation, that you are called to do this, working just another job really does not seem to work. So these are questions that we all have to face. And it's not about judging Bruxy, whether he is doing it the right way or the wrong way. But it's about all of us involved in pastoral ministry or church ministry, Christian organizational ministry, to ask, what are the expectations? What is the best way in which a person can get back into ministry? And for myself, I know I would want to wait a number of years before I got back. That it would be really important for me to step back, and I definitely would not want to have legal issues hovering over me. There are certain situations in which I would say that perhaps for myself that I would not return to pastoral ministry. It wouldn't stop me from being a Christian or even trying to be a positive influence in some way. But I don't know. For certain situations, I would think that exclusion from pastoral ministry might happen. But where that line is exactly, it is hard to draw. And there are people that have come back from bad circumstances and have been effective in ministry, and God bless them when that happens. I would also definitely want to be in submission to other leaders and to an organization. I would not want to be doing something on my own, but rather connected with denominational leaders and to find some way to serve in that way. But that's all really hypothetical in my case. So I, again, can't say that one person is doing it wrong, one person is doing it right. But we do need to reflect on it. And what does it mean for non-denominational ministries that go on? Are they free to do whatever they want? And I suppose that they are. It's then up to the people who are supporting them through participation, through finances, to decide for themselves if what is going on is the right thing. Those are just some of the reflections that I have. In the how you can help with Bruxy Cavey on his website, one of the things there is to pray for him, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that it is very important to pray for Bruxy Cavey, because one way or the other, he has an incredible influence on people, and while that influence may be diminished because of things that have happened over recent years, that it still is there, and he is still a brother in Christ. And we need to pray for him, and also that God would guide him and bring healing upon him. That is for sure what should be done, and there's no reason for any of us to disagree with that. I would love to hear what you think about this, not just about what you think of Bruxy Cavey, because again, I'm not sure that it's our place to judge, but at what point do you think a person can return to ministry, and what can that ministry look like? Thank you for watching the video. Please visit me at stephenjbedard.com, and God bless.